My name is Andy Kravitz, or Phil DeVoid, or Klaus Kurtz, depending on the day and the subject matter. Originally from Philadelphia, PA, Pennsylvania that is. And I'm a music producer, musician, drummer, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and purveyor of new talent. I've had the fortunate opportunity to work on a lot of music for a lot of talented people over the years, from the Rolling Stones to remixes for them, to Sting and remixes for him, and people like Imogen Heap and Sean Colvin and Taj Mahal, legendary Taj Mahal. It's been a really interesting experience, you know, getting to create with all of these people in a sort of behind-the-scenes setting, in a studio setting. And as a musician and a drummer, the studio is like my instrument, you know, so I play it like an instrument. Mixing is, for those of you who may not be familiar with the term mixing the tracks or mixing music, mixing down a song, is taking all the elements, all the ingredients, and going from, say, 24 channels of ingredients down to the soup that's in the spoon. Basically, it's just mixing it all up into a pot and serving it, you know, in terms of a food analogy. A lot of times when I'm called to do a mix, it's already been mixed once, and it's already been sort of delivered by the artist to, say, a label or a record company, and they bring it to me to see what, you know, if I can pepper it anymore or raise the bar for it. So it's kind of like a pinch hitter in baseball. Sometimes it's 96 tracks, sometimes it's, you know, 10 reels of tape, and you have to compile it all. And interestingly enough, mixing and remixing is more about what you don't use than what you do use, because a lot of times it's like you got to keep it simple for the people, you know. So it's an everyman sort of a deal. It's like when you're writing a song, you want to you know, you aim to have a connection with your audience and as many access points within the song as you can muster, whether it's, you know, whether they tune in during the verse of a song or tune in during the chorus and the hook of a song. It's all about, oh yeah, I get it. Yes, I get it. You know, you think about when you listen to the radio, how quickly your DNA knows whether you like something or not. It's like, no, 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 yes. You know, Led Zeppelin or whatever you hit, you know immediately. It's like a fingerprint. It's past intellect, it's just instinct. At the same time, part of being a good producer is almost being discriminatory. Like, it's what you don't do. It's what you'll never do. Like if some guy says, well, I never put tambourine on my records. You'll never hear a tambourine on a Todd Rundgren record. There's certain things that people gravitate towards and certain things they don't. So you end up putting your stamp on something because of your principles. It's like the essence of your principles is revealed within what you add or take away from the music. The Cheaters showed me the true meaning of friendship, you know, and, you know, again, acceptance, that word of like, here's the microphone, express yourself, you know, there's no judgments. And the Cheaters was a great lesson in that, and that anything goes, and then, you know, we edit later. We basically just accumulate and get multiple takes, get all the information. Meeting Jamie Cohen and Doug Lewis is like an iconic thing for me personally, and I think for a lot of people. When you met Jamie Cohen, you knew it, and you never forgot him, and he had that effect on people. And Jamie and I started working together about 20 years ago, and met on a Taj Mahal record, and he had just signed Taj Mahal amongst other people like Ringo Starr, and was working with groups like Tangerine Dream and Leon Redbone and the McGarrigle Sisters, and was working for a label called Private Music at the time. And we buddied up in Philadelphia, and we're just friends ever since. And pretty soon I was playing on all of the roster on Private Music, playing, mixing, engineering, flying back and forth from Philadelphia to LA and around, and eventually toured with Taj Mahal. This is all through Jamie Cohen. After a while, we kind of went our separate ways, and then just like he would put it this way, we came around and met at this other point, and I would call that the start of the Cheaters. And he sort of sought me out and said, hey, come on up to New York City. I want you to meet a dear friend of mine, Doug Lewis. You got to meet Doug Lewis. And you guys are gonna love each other. And it's like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And we met, and we've been just best friends ever since. Once Doug and Jamie and I connected, we were kind of inseparable there for like at least 3 weeks. I don't think we left each other's sides. We decided to go up to New London, Connecticut, and then we went over to Montauk, and then back down to New York City, and then everybody came over to my house in Philly. And then Jamie was like, hey, why don't we start a record? Let's make this record. And because the music was going so well. I mean, everywhere we were, we had our laptop and, you know, a microphone. Here's the microphone. And expression all over the place. Everybody was doing their thing. And so Jamie said, come to Santa Fe, land of enchantment. Let's make some music in my art studio. Within 4 minutes of getting in the front door, we were already creating tracks. I think that day we came up with 10 songs. And then, you know, maybe spent the next few days working those out, flushing them out, and realizing some of those ideas. And pretty soon, after about 2 weeks, it was like we were up to about 35 songs, 40 tracks, and it's like, wow, this is interesting. I'm not used to, this evolution of music just pouring out of us. You know, as many grooves as I could come up with. Doug was right there with chords. Jamie was right there with books of lyrics, and I guess we all had pent-up expression that we all wanted to, release. And Jamie sought me out. There's no doubt about it. He came and found me. Jamie had a way of connecting people, and this was his pet project. This was his pet connection. Like, this was the thing I guess he saw as penultimate or the ultimate, collaboration of, two really good friends of his, and he wanted to put us together as he always did so well, There's probably 1,000 people out there who could say, hey, Jamie was the one who got me my first gig, or Jamie was the one who introduced me to so-and-so, or Eddie Money, or, the Grateful Dead, or, Frank Zappa's people. He's just involved in all the high art that's out there. With the addition of Mike, we have, it's a direct evolution from the Cheaters, yet it's totally different. But there is a core, and in a way, some of Jamie's DNA must have rubbed off on Doug and I in terms of this connectivity, because we have webbed out. I mean, there's like a whole cast of characters that have come through and been inspired by just, here's the microphone, express yourself. And Mike was one of our first victims of that of that device, and it's an amazing thing to watch people get switched on, and once it's on, you can't shut it off. It seems there's a flow to it, a feng shui, and Venice, has always been a center for the arts, and we somehow together we have a way of tapping into it, and it seems effortless, maybe to the outside eye, but it's something you have to work on. You have to have a relationship with it, and you can't force it either. It has to be, it's just a give and a take. It's the ultimate expression of not only a generation, but a world full of people. I think the way it's been designed is, we took this thing that was very much on a local level and have expanded it to, the website, and the access point is for everybody now, with links to Mike and, everything Mike brings to the situation. There's a whole, generation or a world full of people who they don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know where they're going to get their next meal, inspiration, where they're going to, how they're going to pay their rent, this or that. So everyone's got a song in that sense. Everyone's got something to say. And it's the NWT is their access point to be heard, it seems like. We've created a podium, you know, with a microphone on it. Once again, here's the mic, whether it's spoken word and we put music to it, or you're hearing one of the many tracks we might be making, and oh, I have something for that. Here's the mic. You know, no judgments, you know, no contracts, none of that. Just come on and express yourself. Come on in the door. Kristen Vigard is just so talented. She was the original Annie, and she's been an actress, wonderful singer, super talented. Again, I met her through Jamie Cohen probably 20 years ago here in Venice, right here in Venice on Electric Avenue. And he had just signed her to a record deal with Private Music. And he and Peter Baumann put out her album. I was fortunate enough to meet her and work a little bit around the peripherals of those things and what was going on, and you know, immediately captivated by her talent and her presence. And you know, if you've ever been in a room with Kristen, you know it. Let's talk about Arthur Barrow. Probably the most talented musician I've known. You may know him from Frank Zappa's band. He played with Frank Zappa for many years. He was his right-hand man. Frank used to call him Tink, the Clone Meister. And Arthur is carrying the torch in many ways. His story is really extraordinary because he grew up in Texas, loving the music of Frank Zappa, and had a dream to move to LA and meet Frank and join his band, which is exactly what happened. He moved here, and next thing you know, he's in the room with Frank. He introduced himself and said, "This is my dream. I'm here with you because I'm here in California because of you." And they got to know each other, and boom, and now he's part of Frank's legacy. I guess at the time he had played on I guess maybe 10 or 12 records of Frank's, but since posthumously they keep releasing stuff. He's now on like 45 albums. Arthur is a part of our scene here. He's got a studio in Venice. It's directly inspired from Zappa and Beefheart and those cats, and that expression. And it's very interesting when I go back and I listen to those records now, a Trout Mask Replica or, you know, Freak Out. It's so much, here's the microphone once again. You could just tell, like, I'm Jimmy Carl Black and I'm the Indian of the group, you know, or, you know, handing the mic over to Ezra Mohawk, or, you know, the GTOs, or it seems very much self-expression, unfettered. Frank knew how to do that. He knew how to sort of manipulate the, you know, the creative process to the point where you didn't have, I guess, you know, again, I wasn't there, but it seems like you had to put your thinking cap on for part of it, but the rest of the time you never knew what was, you never knew before it was actually happening what was going to happen. It's an incredible experience working with guys like Mike Rupert and Doug Lewis, and lyricists like Jamie Cohen, artists, and people such as yourself. And you know, it's an honor. It really is. It's an honor to be able to be there, the guy pushing record and helping to guide this thing, you know, at times. And being a part of this NWT it's turning out to be magic, you know. And it's interesting, it's almost, when it happens, you least expect it or you're least seeking it out. It's more like it came to you and you're letting it happen.